Welcome to another Threes and TDs, a YouTube channel all about the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. Today we're going to talk about whatever whatever we just saw yesterday out of that game between the Texans and the Panthers. And there's a lot to talk about. There's actually some news today. I'm recording this on Sunday, so there's just a lot to discuss and a lot to talk about. But man, that was a rough game, y'all. I don't know what to tell y'all, but that was a rough game. And I don't know. There's two camps of people when we talk about the preseason. Camp number one is the people that say the preseason doesn't matter. The good teams don't play their guys, right? Like, there's that camp of people. And then there's another camp of people that say, oh, the preseason really matters, and now we're going to go 0-17, right? Here's where I'm at with it. Our fan base, the Carolina Panthers fan base, is tired of sucking. We're just tired of being a bad franchise. And ever since David Tepper came into the fold, this franchise has not been a good franchise. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We have not been a very good franchise. And so when Dave Canales does, and I like Dave, I think Dave's going to be a really good coach. I'm not trying to say that Dave Canales needs to be fired this year. But what I'm saying is, when you get up there and you're really good press conference voice and say, we just need to stay positive. We're not firing on all cylinders when it comes to the fundamentals. You're the coach. Where are they going to learn those fundamentals from? And remember, if you remember last year, he didn't want to play the players. He was very clear that he didn't want to play the players. And now this year, he chose to play the players, but then they played two series. The series was terrible offensively. Bryce, I don't think this is on Bryce. There was a throw to JT Sanders that literally hit him in his hands. JT dropped it, 3 and out. So there were 2 3 and outs. And then in the presser, I don't know who asked him. I don't know if it was Sheena. I don't know who asked this question, but essentially it was like, I thought you were going to play your starters for 3 series. And Dave Canales says, something along the lines of, I wanted them to earn it, which is kind of a weird thing to say to your starters in preseason. You want them to earn the opportunity to play a 3rd series, even though you said that they were going to play 3 series. And then one of his other comments in the presser essentially said, well, I was really happy with what happened in joint practice. So it seems as though to me, once again, we don't know, but it seems as though to me that he doesn't value the preseason the way that many fans, including myself, want him to value the preseason. And he does all these things. He's like, oh, it's very Pete Carroll-esque or very Sean McVay, but it's like, here's the thing, our team is not good enough to do that. We're not. Our team is not good enough to just say, oh, we're just going to play 2 series and then I want them to earn a 3rd series. What is that? What is that? I saw it was actually a really good tweet where somebody, I don't know who said it, but somebody was saying Dan Morgan talks about wanting some dogs, right? Wanting people with fight, wanting people with attitude. Dave Canales is from California. Tedro McMillan is from California. Bryce Young is from California. So it's once again, not that California people can't be tough, but there's this, it seems as though there's a mix of you want California cool, but you also want people that have that fight. And part of the issue is that I don't actually think this team has a culture right now. I thought it did at the end of last season. I really did. But I'm not pleased with what I saw yesterday. It was bad on a lot of counts. It was just bad football. It was bad, bad, bad football. And once again, I'm not saying we're not going to win 8-9 games like a lot of people are predicting we will. What I'm saying is you can't get mad at a fan base that has been deprived of competency for this long to get upset at the fact that your product on the field sucked. Like, it sucked. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think Bryce is going to be fine. I think our firsts are going to be fine. I thought Etienne looked really good. I haven't looked at the all-22 clips, but what I'm reading and seeing is that he played really, really well. But outside of that, I guess Lathan Ransom, too, the safety, had some good reps, but there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff. Also, here's another thing that I want to talk about and discuss. This idea that you want to let your offensive sorry, I got something in my throat. This idea that you want to let your offensive coordinator, essentially, you want to give him opportunities. Once again, Pete Carroll would do this all the time. Our team is not good enough to just let our assistant coordinator call plays. You, Dave Canales, were brought here for a specific reason. It was to give us an offensive identity. You were marketed as this guy that was, a quarterback guru that worked with it is not time to get tricky and just fun. That's not what it is. Call the plays. I have no problems with our offensive coordinator, but we're not good. We won 5 games last year. We were terrible. We were trash. So you need to be the one that calls the plays. It's been over 24 hours and I'm still frustrated about what I saw. And I think a lot of fans are. It wasn't a good product. So I don't know. It's a quick turnaround because we play the Steelers on Thursday. Andy Dalton got hurt. We're bringing in another quarterback. I think we signed a 4th quarterback because Canales has said that he's not going to play the starters. Mike Hay had a fantastic tweet. He said, if the goal was to build continuity and build chemistry with the first team offense, the goal was not achieved. And I think he's right. You have to let Bryce and company be out there for longer after 2-3 and outs. Because at that point, what's the point? I don't care about joint practices. This whole idea of it's it's a joint practice. We did really good at joint practice. I don't know, man. It was discouraging to see what I saw. Once again, I think we're going to be okay, but that was just bad. So, and we're not really, that was the last time we are going to get to see all the starters. So, Derek Brown also, here's the other, the Panthers.com came out with an article that said Derek Brown had to beg to be on the field. Derek Brown shouldn't have to beg to be on the field. That is insane. So we will have a lot more news this coming week about the game. Looking forward to Pittsburgh on Thursday and see what happens. But once again, we won't get, the starters aren't going to play for that. So it'll be more the depth pieces. There was news coming out today that I wanted to talk about, and it was Trey Hendrickson. So Jordan Schultz, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, they're essentially all reporting that the Bengals are listening to offers for Trey, which means that if you've been following the Trey thing, their numbers have been very distant this whole time. So, and the Panthers were the number 1 team. So obviously there was a lot of excitement about that. They want draft capital and a player. Trey Hendrickson would be the best defensive line person that we've had since Brian Burns. And there could be an argument that Trey is better than what Brian was when he was playing with us. I don't have an issue with that, but I also don't want us to Like, I don't think we need to sell one of our draft picks this year to get Trey. And Dan Morgan has been very clear in this whole process, which is that he wants to develop this with young players. So we'll have more information as we hear more on Trey Hendrickson. There's a lot of excitement. Obviously, when your team is linked, that sounds great, like to a player. I just don't think it's going to happen with what I know about Dan Morgan. So, but we'll see. Once again, disappointing outcome. We'll break it down as the week progresses, but Panthers lose to the Texans. Looking forward to Pittsburgh. Thank y'all for watching, following, subscribing, liking, doing all that stuff. I'll see y'all in the next one.